Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the B.E.S.T. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the B.E.S.T, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's B.E.S.T standards for math. So grab something to write with and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go, I see you. And let's dive into today's B.E.S.T standard. Hey everybody, my name is Sarah McCarthy and thank you for joining me as we go over the following standard today. MA.5.M.1.1, and the standard says to solve multi-step real-world problems that involve converting measurement units to equivalent measurements within a single system of measurement. Okay, so basically these are really beefed up measurement conversion real-world multi-step problems. Here's an example. There are 60 minutes in 1 hour, 24 hours in 1 day, and 7 days in a week. So there are 60 times 24 times 7 minutes in 1 week, which is equivalent to 10,080 minutes. So you can see there's a bunch of different steps going on there. By the way, this document that I'm marking up all over is not something that I created. This is something that the Florida Department of Education releases to the public. And then we, teachers, can take a look at this to break it down so that we know what the expectations are for our students. And what I'm just doing in these videos is showing you my thought process for breaking them down in order to create the resources for you that are strategically aligned in your Taking on the B.E.S.T membership, okay? All right, so let's take a look at the benchmark clarifications. It says within the benchmark, the expectation is not to memorize the conversions. In other words, just like in the Common Core standards, students should be provided with a conversion sheet, a reference sheet of some kind when they're going over this. Now, a lot of the Taking on the B.E.S.T video lessons provide that, but make sure that you also have them just in case, that you always have a reference sheet for them to access. Number 2 says that conversions include length, time, volume, capacity, represented as whole numbers, fractions, and decimals. So because we work with whole numbers, fractions, and decimals in 5th grade, everything is up for grabs. And those length, time, volume, and capacity skills that we're going to be working on will both be in the customary units and using the metric system. The Department of Education has listed a ton of related benchmarks. And so the NSO.1.1 is how many times greater or less is it, and that's moving place values. So in other words, 1 kilometer can be shifted in place value when you're talking about meters or centimeters there. So that's really a good standard to have that's related. 2.1, 2.4, and 2.5 are multiplication and division with whole numbers and decimals. So that's definitely what we'll be working on here. AR.1.2 is adding, subtracting, and multiplying with fractions, which are definitely embedded with this multi-step real-world problem aspect of it. I put a question mark for these 2 standards because I wasn't really sure how they were connecting. I don't know, I thought they were just kind of thrown in there, but I mean, they can be justified, I suppose. One of them is with translating numerical expressions into mathematical descriptions, and this one is triangles and quadrilaterals, which if you're measuring the side lengths of them and using that in some kind of sense, and I guess that kind of works. 5.M.2.1, the next standard we'll be talking about in the next episode, will be real-world problems with money. Ain't that the truth? And 5.GR.2.1 is our perimeter and area with fractional and decimal side lengths. I'm cool with that because, again, we're talking about length. And our GR.3.3 is a volume standard. So there's a lot to be related with because we're using a lot here with these multi-step real-world problems with whole numbers, fractions, decimals. There's all kinds of stuff happening in this standard. All right, where are they coming from? In 4th grade, 4.M.1.2, that was our measurement conversion standard. And in 6th grade, they're going to be talking about ratio relationships. So this is definitely a great standard to practice. Purpose and instructional strategies. What jumped out at me? Well, it says that the purpose is to be able to understand the relationship between units of measure through problem solving. We need to allow students to convert measurements flexibly. And a great way to do that is to promote class discussions. You know, when students are solving problems, have them think aloud and explain their journey, the steps that they took to solve the problem. And then, okay, great. Is there anybody else who solved this a different way, to show that there's more than one way to get to the right answer? I love this. I said that this was here it says students, for example, students to discover converting inches to yards. A teacher can have them use 12-inch rulers and yardsticks. This will allow students to see that 3 of the 12-inch rulers are equivalent to 1 yardstick. So there you can see there's the beginning stages of that 6th grade standard with ratio relationships. And this will be a great way to introduce and to see how those conversions are happening in real life. Here they're talking about renaming the units. And that's like going here. It says that students can confuse renaming units. For instance, they need to subtract 6 inches from 3 feet. We could actually rename that as 2 feet and 12 inches, which is 2 feet plus a foot, which is 3 feet, right? We're just renaming that into 2 feet, 12 inches, then subtract the 6 inches to get 6 inches, and then you have 2 feet, 6 inches there. And then here are some sample problems for you just to get an idea of what those standards look like in action. Okay, so you can see here we're going from meters, we've got centimeters, we're trying to figure out how many more centimeters, 24 ounces, half of a cup, how many measuring cups. So really students need to practice reading these problems multiple times, breaking them down, making sense of them so they can perform the operations correctly. All right, that's it for breaking down the standard. Let's go ahead and take a look at what you have access to in your membership for taking on the B.E.S.T. So here we are at the home page. You click Members, enter here. Then taking on the B.E.S.T, 5th grade. Scroll down to the measurement strand M, and we're talking about measurement conversions right there. All right, so we've got measurement conversions with length, measurement conversions with capacity and liquid volume, measurement conversions, mass and weight. All of these are video lessons with printables right there. This is your bronze page, and both the bronze, silver, and gold memberships have access to this. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to click on these silver resources and printables. All right, so I do want to point out that the video lessons are targeting the measurement conversions aspect of this standard. And then there are a few problems, a few resources that you have access to, which combines it into more of a real world problem sense. So you can see here with measurement conversions with length, we have a customary unit going from yards into inches, and then a metric one, meters into kilometers, and also into centimeters. So in the videos, we model how to convert those measurements for sure. After that, students have their notes, and then they can practice on their own too. So you're seeing the fractions, you're seeing the decimals. Okay, we got decimals in there too. Then we have another video lesson that's on the bronze page with liquid volume. We've got quarts being converted into gallons and converted into fluid ounces. Then we have milliliters that are converted into liters, and using place value relationships here to model what that looks like. Another practice page. Pick up 3 half liters. Okay, in this video lesson right here, this is talking about weight and mass. So we've got pounds and being converted into tons and then converted into ounces. And this one we have 4 9/10 kilograms. And a mass in grams, and how many more, so you can see what's going on there with that one. Okay, and then some extra practice with weight and mass. Last video lesson is measurement conversions with time. So we've got 3 5/10 days, how many minutes, how many seconds. Converting that in a video lesson here, 515 weeks old, How long is that in years? Explain how you know, and more practice there. Okay. Then we come to the math mission. This says that Jophiel needs at least 12 5/10 yards of string lights for her backyard patio. One strand of the lights has a length of 100 inches. How many strands of lights will she need to order? So you can see there, we do need to convert, and there's a little bit more happening with the problem. Okay, and then talking about the lights, but now we're saying how long it's going to take to do it. So now we're working on that time measurement, going from hours into seconds. The last aspect of the Silver Plan is the Math Misconception Mystery episode. That is where you just click play right here, click play, and I'll walk you through everything. I'll let students know that they can solve this problem on their own, and then after they solve it, they can also solve it in a group. It depends on what you want to do. And then they will watch as 4 characters solve that same problem. 3 of those characters are going to make a mistake, while only 1 of them has the correct answer. And yes, those characters are just me dressed up in silly costumes, using funny accents, and trying to make it fun for them. After they watch the video lesson and all the characters, they will fill out their detective report, stating who the most reasonable answer belongs to and evaluating the work of the others, okay? So that's your silver. And if you have the gold plan, you can click here. It'll take you to your gold resources. You can go back to those bronze and silver resources at any time. And with the gold resources, you do have access to this breaking down the best video right here. It's right with your resources, no ads, which is a nice little perk to have. But just know that these videos are also on YouTube, that you can totally watch them on YouTube, but they do have ads, okay? But the biggest reasons for being a gold member is that you get a mini assessment that goes with it. So here's your mini assessment. Notice it just says show what you know. So you can use this as a mini assessment, as a practice test, as just extra practice in general, whatever you want to do. Okay. See just a variety of question types. We got fractions, we've got decimals, we've got different, we've got we've got volume here, we have time on this one, and I believe these 2 are length ones, okay? And then the most of the reason why people choose the gold plan is because you also have access to McCarthy Math 155, which is a daily math intervention that I created that's aligned to the Common Core standards. Now we know that we're in the B.E.S.T standards now in Florida, but there are so many video lessons here that still can be used to help build those confidence muscles with your students. So if you have students who need extra practice, this is the reason why you have the gold plan. The McCarthy Math 155, the 155 stands for 155 grade level video lessons. So if we click on 5th grade, here are the different units. You see we were multiplying, dividing, numerical expressions, understanding place value, operations with decimals, operations with fractions, all the things. But what we want to look at is right here, measurement conversions. And there are 15 extra video lessons to walk your students through this process. We go over a bunch. So look, there's 8 problems right here. Just click that guide. See, we're just practicing over and over and over again for measurement conversions, because practice is not something that students can do once they're good. It's the thing that they have to do to make them good. And we have to provide students with opportunities to practice if we expect for them to improve and get better. So that is the whole reason for using this. This is a big hit with many classrooms in Florida, with many teachers in Florida. Okay, so you got a lot here for the standard. Not every standard really aligns that you can use, but there are so many video lessons in here that you really can use. It's totally worth it. All right, so I think that's it. I hope that this video lesson helped you to break down the standard that we went over today. Now you know what's expected, and you know what resources you have access to with your membership that are specifically aligned to the standard. Before we go, let me remind you that what you choose to wake up and do every day with your life, it really does matter. Thank you so much for stepping into the leadership role that you are in and leading your students to success. Thank you for also stepping into the best version of yourself every day to inspire your students to do the same. Now, I know that you're busy. I know you've got a lot of stuff going on, so I'm not going to keep you. But just know that I can't wait to see you on the next episode, okay? All right, bye. Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm going to ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye.